So, welcome back to our channel, and today I am going to discuss regarding the physiology of deglutition or physiology of swallowing in its details, from definition to the phases to some applied aspects to be useful for both undergraduate as well as for postgraduate trainees. So, without wasting any time, let us start with the topic. So, today's topic of discussion is firstly deglutition. Primarily, to start with the point of definition. So, deglutition is the process of swallowing any food. That is the process by which food passes from mouth to stomach via esophagus in a complex neuromuscular process. So, it is a neuromuscular process, and this complex neuromuscular physiology of deglutition can be divided into mainly three stages, although some books retain or write it as four stages. So mostly it is the oral stage, secondly the pharynx, sorry, GL stage, thirdly it is the esophageal stage. But I will write it as the zero stage. Some says there is a preliminary stage to this oral stage also, and that is prepare, sorry, preparatory stage. So, firstly, to start with the point of the definition of each stage. The oral stage means when the food is in the oral cavity and it has not reached the pharynx rather than the oropharynx. Correct? So, oral phase is actually the phase when the food moves from mouth to pharynx. Correct? Mouth to pharynx. This is your oral stage. Secondly, the pharyngeal stage. Here, the food moves from actually to say it is a oropharynx to the esophagus. Correct? So it is from oropharynx to esophagus. Whereas the esophageal phase is when the food moves from esophagus to stomach. So it is from esophagus to stomach. Importantly, the first esophagus, it should not be stated as esophagus only. Rather, it should be stated as the upper esophageal sphincter. Whereas this also should not be stated like this only. Rather, not from esophagus to stomach actually. Rather, when the food is within the esophagus, food is within the esophagus, means food travels from the upper esophageal sphincter to the lower esophageal sphincter. So from upper esophageal sphincter to lower esophageal sphincter. Right? That is this. So that is the point of the division of phases of deglutition. So you should be asking me what is then the preparatory phase? Some says the preparatory phase is actually occurs within the oral cavity. Actually occurring within the oral cavity. And when a food is being taken, sorry, just a minute. When a food is being taken within the oral cavity, then the food is being prepared with the enzymatic reactions inside the oral cavity for deglutition, and then the neuromuscular actions of the tongue muscles as well as the um, soft palate is occurring to facilitate the process of deglutition. So, firstly, there is some preparation being done within the oral cavity, and the food which is being taken within the oral cavity to the mouth is being made into a bolus form, which is to be swallowed in the further phases of our deglutition. Correct? So, to say you, it is the phase where food is, or rather taken food is made into bolus to facilitate further phases of deglutition. Okay. So here the food is made into bolus. This is the most important point of this. So let us start with each of the phases now. Correct? Let us start with all the phases, drawing and in complete details. Okay. So our first phase is nothing but the oral phase. Let us say now this is my anterior cranial fossa, then the middle cranial fossa, then the posterior cranial fossa. Okay, and here there is the brain. Okay, and this is the brainstem coming down like this. Okay, you know, I think these are your midbrain forms, then the medulla, and then this medulla is continuing as the spinal cord. Okay. So now there is the cerebellum. I think you know this one also. And for your kindest information, this is your tentorium cellular. No, this is the foramen magnum through which the brainstem is coming down. Okay, now this is my eyeball over there. This is the eyeball. Okay. This is the nasal cavity. This is the portion of the hard palate, and there is like this. This is the portion of the soft palate. Okay, what is being done? Sorry, this is the portion of the soft palate. Correct? Now, here there is the throat being done, and this is the part of the oral cavity. Okay. This is upper lips, these are lower lips. Okay, no problem. What happens is now that we have got two tubes side by side, isn't it? I think you know. Firstly, there is the firstly there is this one, that is the esophagus. Okay. Secondly, there is also one another tube being placed anteriorly to the esophagus. That is the food tube. It is the respiratory tube. That is the trachea, larynx, and all those things. Yes, this is my esophagus. Sorry, this is my glutes. Correct. Now, let me draw the tongue now. Correct. So, what was being done? Firstly, you should be knowing that this is my tongue over there. This is my tongue. Correct. So, what is it doing when a food particle comes? So, let us start with the food particle. Correct. So, this is my food particle being born. This is the food. This is the food. Now, when a food is actually coming inside my mouth, when a food is actually coming inside my mouth, what happens? Firstly, um, the food is being chewed, okay, and mixed with saliva. So food is chewed and mixed with saliva. Okay, in the saliva there are some salivary amylase and lipases. Correct. So therein, what happens? The carbohydrate breakdown occurs. Carbohydrate breakdown occurs by those salivary amylases, and the lipid breakdown also occurs. Lipid breakdown also occurs by salivary lipases. Okay. So the salivary amylases degrade the carbohydrates. Lipases degrade the lipids of the fats in the food particle, and also there is increase in viscosity by mucin saliva. Mucin. So you know at this moment that the carbohydrate breakdown occurs by salivary amylase, lipid breakdown by salivary lipases, increased viscosity by mucin. Correct? Now, If this occurs, this will lead to two things. Okay, just a minute. So two things. One, it causes increase in the surface area, increase in surface area for chemical digestion, and it causes decrease in abrasion of GI lining, in abrasion of GI lining. So if actually the viscosity of the food particle is increased by the action of the salivary mucin, it will cause decrease in the GI lining abrasion in its further course. Whether the salivary lipases and amylases causing breakdown of the carbohydrates and the lipids in the food particles causes increase in the surface area of the food particles for chemical digestion. So these actually occur in the advantage which was being actually said as the preparatory stage, as per some resources. Correct? And thus, after this very phase, the food which was being the food which had entered within the mouth has now become the bolus, okay, to be swallowed further. Now, now what happens? The oral phase proper starts. How? When the food particle comes in contact with the tongue, our tongue actually is in the resting state. Now the food particle comes. Now what happens? The intrinsic muscles of the tongue and extrinsic muscles of tongue get stimulated. Now these intrinsic muscles will cause a furrow or a hole within the tongue to hold the food particle properly, and then the tongue will move up with the help of those extrinsic muscles, and that will cause the bolus to get down within the oropharynx. Correct? So that is about the tongue getting in action in the oral phase of deglutition. Correct? So let us write it down. What happens? This food comes and the tongue is actually now holding the food particle, okay, within it in a furrow. So what happens? Let us get it down some other colors. So what happens? Firstly, the central trough or furrow within the tongue is made by the action of intrinsic muscles of tongue. Intrinsic muscles of tongue. Correct? Okay. Whereas the food particle is going down and actually the tongue is getting elevated. So secondly, sorry, secondly, there is tongue elevated by the action of extrinsic muscles of tongue. Extrinsic muscles of tongue. So the central trough will hold the wood particle within the tongue properly, okay, and the tongue elevation. Both of them will lead to creating a downward slope. Sorry, this will create a downward slope to push the bolus into the oropharynx. To push the bolus into the oropharynx. Okay. So now I have said you that the process of deglutition is a neuromuscular coordinated process. So what nerve is actually doing all those things being done already. So you should be knowing of the fact that here in both of these cases the intrinsic muscles, firstly the intrinsic muscles of tongue are being innervated. Actually, what are these intrinsic muscles of tongue? What are these intrinsic muscles of tongue? These are the superior and inferior longitudinal and vertical and transverse muscles. Okay, and what are these extrinsic muscles of tongue? These are styloglossus and genioglossus muscles. Styloglossus and genioglossus muscles. And these styloglossus and genioglossus muscles, as well as the superior longitudinal, vertical and transverse muscles, all are being innervated by cranial nerve 11, that is, sorry, cranial nerve 12, that is the hypoglossal nerve. Okay. So that is the hypoglossal nerve. Okay. You should be also knowing of the fact that the styloglossus and genioglossus muscles, that is the extrinsic muscles of tongue, which are the main extrinsic muscles, are being also um, helped in their action by the mylohyoid muscle, which is also being considered as one of the important extrinsic muscles of tongue, I believe. Correct? Now, now the in the oral phase, you should be also knowing about the primary actions of those things. Correct? So you know at this moment that the food is to be chewed first, and the saliva comes into action then. So, what are the muscles of chewing? What are the mandibular depressors? What are the mandibular elevators? And what are the salivary glands which actually um, secrete the saliva, which causes these molecules, the salivary amylase and lactose to get into action. Correct? So, firstly, we start with the point of this chewing, and that is the point of mastication. So, the masticative process. So, the masticatory process is being helped by four muscles mainly. Four muscles. They are lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid, masseter, and the temporalis muscle. So, the lateral, medial pterygoids, then masseter, and lastly it is the temporalis muscle. Correct? So each and every muscle in this group is being innervated by cranial nerve V3. That means the mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. Correct? That is the point to remember at this moment. Next, let me say you regarding the mandibular, sorry, mandibular depresses and mandibular elevators. Okay, so the mandibular elevators means the mandible is to be elevated. So obviously the muscle should be in the upper part. Correct. So the masseter, the temporalis muscle, as well as the medial pterygoid muscles are the mandibular elevators. Okay, whereas the mandibular depressors, this is being done during chewing process by firstly the lateral pterygoid muscle. Secondly, there are some muscles which are coming from below. So they are the anterior belly of the digastric muscles. Correct. There are something like anterior belly of the digastric muscles. Sorry, the digastric muscle directions like this only. So these are the anterior belly of the digastric muscles. Then the mylohyoid muscle and the geniohyoid muscle. Correct. So let us jot it down over there. So the depressors are firstly the lateral pterygoid, secondly the anterior belly of digastric muscle, thirdly it is the mylohyoid muscle, fourthly it is the geniohyoid muscles. So the lateral pterygoid muscle being stimulated or being innervated by cranial nerve V3. Anterior belly of digastric, it is again cranial nerve V3. Mylohyoid, again cranial nerve V3. Okay, whereas the geniohyoid is being supplied by the C1 cervical plexus. C1 cervical plexus. Then the elevators. The elevators are obviously medial pterygoid. Secondly, it is the temporalis and the masseter muscles. Already said these are all being supplied by V3 nerve. Correct? Okay. So you know at this moment about the mandibular elevators, mandibular depressors. Now, coming to the next point of our discussion in this very part only, and that is about the salivary glands. Contributing in the salivation mostly and causing all those salivary amylase and lipases to help aid in breakdown of the carbohydrates and lipids present in the food fiber. Correct? So those salivary glands are mainly, primarily there are actually two types of salivary glands in our body. One is major salivary gland, extrinsic major salivary glands, whereas minor salivary glands, which are actually the intrinsic minor salivary glands. Minor salivary glands, again, as the name suggests, they are of minority, so that is 10%, whereas extrinsic major salivary glands are of 90%. So that is 10%, this is 90%. Extensive major salivary glands include your parotid, submandibular, and the sublingual glands. So that is about the major salivary and minor salivary glands you need to know. Correct? Now, lastly, in this part only, I will like to discuss about the some part of this oral cavity. So, the oral cavity. The oral cavity, the anterior most part of the oral cavity is the oral vestibule, whereas the posterior most part or posterior boundary for this oral cavity is nothing but the anterior pilus. Okay, that is the palato, sorry, glossal arch. Okay, so here only let us discuss about the point of this very part where the oral cavity ends and from where the oropharynx starts. Okay, so you see here the boundary differentiating between the oral cavity and oropharynx. Primarily, laterally, they are bilateral anterior pilus. That is the palatal arch. Okay, so this one, this one. Then below, that is inferior. It is this very area where the base of the tongue starts and the anterior two-thirds of the tongue ends. So it is the junction of anterior two-third and posterior one-third of tongue. Okay, which is actually nothing but the line demarcating the starting of this circumvallate tapedi. Correct? And superiorly, it is the junction of hard and soft palate. Okay, so you should be very much clear about the fact that this hard palate is a part of oral cavity, or rather, it is a subsite of oral cavity, whereas soft palate is a subsite of the oropharynx. Again, there is a catch in both of these structures. This soft palate superior surface, sorry, inferior surface is a part of oral cavity, whereas the superior surface of soft palate, superior Surface of oropharynx is a part of nasopharynx. Please do it. Correct? So this is about the point of oral phase which you need to know in details. Thank you very much for today's video. In the next parts, we will be discussing about the pharyngeal phase and the esophageal phase along with their applied aspects in next 3 parts. Thank you for patient hearing.